The Magicians is one of the best fantasy shows to air in the 2010s, but viewers might be looking for something else to watch after finishing its 5 seasons. Fortunately, there's another 3-season fantasy series that makes an ideal replacement. Based on the book trilogy written by Lev Grossman, The Magicians ran for 5 seasons on SYFY before being cancelled. It's one of many projects in the genre to meet an early end, but it has a fairly satisfying conclusion. It will leave viewers looking for other shows like The Magicians, though, and those can be hard to find. While there are plenty of series that take place in magic school settings and transport their characters to fantastical worlds, few of them capture the tone of the SYFY series. Staying in line with Grossman's books, The Magicians puts a darker spin on these concepts. It drives home the notion that magic can't fix the characters' problems, and in many ways, it actively makes them worse. This realism, along with the complicated mental health themes and relationship dynamics, made The Magicians smarter than other shows. There is another that will probably appeal to fans, however, though it's not quite as dark. Shadowhunters is similar to The Magicians in a lot of ways. Both are urban fantasy series with a heavy character focus. Although it doesn't subvert fantasy tropes or get quite as dark as The Magicians, Freeform's Shadowhunters has a lot in common with the SYFY series, enough that viewers should give it a shot. Like The Magicians, Shadowhunters is an urban fantasy story, pulling its main character from the real world into a magical one that ordinary people aren't supposed to know about. For Quentin, this means being accepted into a magical university, then discovering the Narnia-inspired world of Fillory isn't fiction. For Shadowhunters Clary, it involves the realization that angels and demons are real. The larger premise of these setups feels similar, even if the two shows take their stories in totally different directions. And most importantly, both The Magicians and Shadowhunters place a heavy focus on their characters, digging into coming-of-age themes as they do. Both series take the time to unpack mental health storylines, both see their characters coming to terms with their identities, and both feature compelling friendships and romantic relationships. Anyone who wants more of those elements after watching The Magicians will find them in the Freeform series. Shadowhunters was a more inconsistent show than The Magicians. The quality of the Freeform series varies over its 3 seasons. Stephanie Bennett as Lydia Branwell in Shadowhunters. While Shadowhunters boasts several strengths that also elevate The Magicians, it's worth noting that it's a more inconsistent series. It varies in quality, with some seasons and episodes feeling drastically better than others. Season 1 takes time finding its footing, both in terms of acting and writing, but it starts as an acceptable adaptation of Cassandra Clare's Shadowhunters books. As the series begins to deviate from the source material, however, it improves in other areas. This may not be enough to sway diehard book F. Shadowhunters was also cancelled as it was gaining traction, which makes its ending less satisfying, even if its quality is an improvement on earlier outings. Not all viewers will want to slog through the less compelling visuals and storylines to get to the worthwhile ones. However, for those who don't mind their ups and downs, it's a great series to pick up after The Magicians. Despite its flaws, Shadowhunters is a great show for fans of The Magicians. It offers an intriguing fantasy world and thoughtful coming-of-age storylines. Clary and Jace holding each other on Shadowhunters. Shadowhunters has its problems, but it's still a great choice for fans of The Magicians, which isn't devoid of flaws either. Both series take significant liberties with the source material they are based on, and they both end before they should have. However, they also offer thoughtful coming-of-age storylines and intriguing fantasy worlds, and they're each unique compared to other offerings in the genre, many of which fall into the high fantasy category. They can also be binge-watched back-to-back, as they are completed. Shadowhunters is currently available to stream on Hulu.